My name's Rachel Kleinman. I'm 17 years old and I've been in Whistler my whole life.
My name's Feet Banks. I'm a long-time local, I guess. My parents moved here in 1988 just to ski for 1 year, and they brought me with them, and that 1 year turned into until now.
My name is Marie Fortin.
My name is Lenny Rubinovich. I moved out here to Whistler 6 years ago to follow my passion for snowboarding.
My name's Stan Matwichuk. I've been here for 5 years.
My name's Kate Power, and I grew up in British Columbia in Vancouver. When I was 15 years old, I moved to Whistler.
My name's Chili Tom, and I've been coming to Whistler for about 24 years ago. I think I started skiing here first, and moved to Whistler about 10 years ago, I'd say. And I came for the skiing first off and stayed for the community.
My name's Kelsey Nash. Yeah, I came here about 8 years ago now, just to ski. Came here for a month originally, and got a job woodworking and met all the right people, and stayed for 8 years.
I'm Jessica Hare, also known as Pika. My parents were here, in the early 70s, I guess, so I was born in Vancouver, but moved here when I was 3 days old, and I've been back and forth ever since.
Hi, my name is Robin Taylor, and I have lived in Whistler for 6.5 years.
Well, my name is Carly Woods, and I'm 21 years old, and I've been in Whistler since forever.
I live here because Whistler is an amazing place. I think it's every Canadian snowboard dream to move out of their house to go to Whistler.
What kept me here and what brought me back here is I feel deeply inside me that I have something to do here. I feel good here, and it's about feeling. I feel like it's my environment. It's like a fish in the water, like Marie in the mountains.
Because the lifestyle, how can you pass this up? There's snowboarding, it's dumping snow right now. The summers are beautiful. The community here is amazing. I know it's the lifestyle to lead. Why would you want to be anywhere else?
Yeah, a little bit more slower paced lifestyle, closer to nature, closer to the outdoors, which was a big motivational factor, like to be able to go skiing, snowboarding, mountain biking, hiking.
I stayed here because of the quality of life. I was really impressed with what could be enjoyed on a daily basis. More often than not, you really had to earn it, but for the most part, it was just the things that most people would take for granted, and here you really had to earn it in order to enjoy them. When
The tourists are here, when everyone comes here, it's hard for them to think that it's home for people, because they come here and it's their time to party, their time to have a vacation with their family, and they don't realize people actually like work here and live here and go to school here. And
the typical Whistler resident is pretty laid back and likes the outdoors, but probably has 2 or 3 jobs.
We do have a strong presence of easygoing, friendly people. And if they aren't easygoing, friendly people, then hopefully they will adjust and absorb that from many of the people around here.
The people living in Whistler I think we're go-getters. We go for it, on the mountain, in our life. We like to go big, we like to go extreme, we like to just don't think about tomorrow. If you want to drop a cliff, you just do it, right?
They're like-minded people. A lot of their priorities are in the same place. They care more about happiness, those magical moments that make your life amazing, right? Whether that be risk or taking your kid up on the mountain for the first time or whatever it is. These are the people, they gravitate to this area because they share similar feelings and sentiments about what's important to them. And that's what makes the town special, is all these like-minded people doing it together and doing their best to keep the lifestyle that they love.
I think everyone came to Whistler for a good time. Most people come here to go up on the mountain and to enjoy the outdoors, because it's all right here in the valley, super well packed in. And And everyone's young. It keeps people young. Even 40-year-olds in this town look like they're 20, 25 max.
70-year-olds.
Yeah, the
And
70.
It's an expensive place to live. If you don't like it here, you don't live here. Makes it that easy. If you're complaining, you can just take a hike to the next town. People are here because they want to be, not because they have to be.
I think the community here is really tight-knit, and people here will do anything for someone to help them out. I don't know, there's something about Whistler. There's the amount of population that's here. For the amount of people that are here, there's so many amazing people within this community. I don't know what it is about this place. Is it something in the air, something in the water? I don't know.
The chances are very likely you didn't grow up here. Maybe you did, but probably you didn't grow up here. So you've made the conscious decision to move here. You've looked at everywhere you could move to, anywhere you could go in the world, and been like, I want to move to Whistler because of blah, 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 blah. So you want to be here and you appreciate that you're here. And so I find that the people here have more of they know what they want and they do it, I guess. It took something to move here. Maybe you had to quit your job, break up with your girlfriend, disappoint your parents by not going to school. Who knows? You probably had to make some kind of sacrifice to move here, to live in an overpriced apartment complex, share a room, whatever, and eat overpriced food. So you're here because you really want to be here.
It's the good times. I mean, it's the snowboarding. You know, we have some bad seasons and some good seasons, but you can still make a good season out of a bad snow season. It's all about your attitude on things.
It's a town full of people doing what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. A bunch of people taking control of their lives and living the lives that they want. And I think that's what makes it the greatest town, because everyone's playing by their own rules.
It's pretty diverse now, though. Like before, it used to be people that just came here to ski and work, and now you have all sorts of people here, from business types that have all the jobs in the hotels or with the professional jobs, lawyers and whatnot, and then you have people that are transient and come here for a season, and they just come here to party and ski and make a little bit of money. And then you have the lifers that, like me, that once you come here, you can never leave. Or you may leave and try and leave, but you always end up back here.
The reason that I've stayed in Whistler for so long is the people in the community here is so supportive and so incredible that we're actually able to do our decorating and artwork and DJing. Everyone's so receptive and helpful and supportive of each other within the community that it creates a super warm and welcoming environment that I haven't actually found anywhere else that I've traveled to, or you don't find it in the city.
It's a great place to make a living as an artist. There is a pretty big support group here.
I think Whistler is a pretty incredible place for people of all ages to sort of come, and there's so many opportunities here in every single sector, right from healing arts to sports to art to life to anything you want to sort of try out here. There's sort of a high playing field of people doing amazing things. So anything you're interested in sort of developing in yourself, you're able to check that out and go from there.
Be a major focus as well at the moment on art and culture being a big part of Whistler. You know, everyone's thinking, oh my God, the snow's disappearing, we should do something about it. So definitely they're pushing a lot of the artists forward.
As far as things changing, I think it's getting ever more organized and ever more planned, and people are getting bigger budgets to do bigger things, and so it's kind of snowballing as far as events and everything that's kind of happening.
Getting a few leaders that are able to sort of gently get the artists together and make sure that they're in a position to force themselves out and to create on a higher scale, and to just grow and to learn and to work together is going to be it's got to happen. So it will happen, but it's going to be a huge feat, and I think we've got a lot of positive energy behind us. So
this community is very global oriented and transient, so people come in, they check it out, they leave. When there's any sort of community collaboration, it's really kind of neat to see who's here, who's not, and what's kind of going on.
We're looking at a group of baby boomers, and that's been our major demographic market, and they're no longer able to go up the hill, and they're no longer necessarily as into that, right? And how we're going to keep them coming here. I mean, arts and culture is is this one of the obvious things?
There's tons and tons of creative people, and everyone, with the mutual support that everyone gives, it sort of feeds people's creativity, and we get all sorts of amazing filmmakers coming out of town, amazing visual artists, musicians, DJs. It's just really a great hub for creativity, because everyone comes to experience Whistler, and we do seem to have a pretty good experience to give them. So
I guess you grew up somewhere and you expect it to stay the same, but change is only inevitable. And when Whistler started, the whole reason it started was because a couple guys from Vancouver looked at Whistler and went, that'd be the perfect spot to hold the Olympics. So that's how, the whole thing started, of developing Whistler. So you can't really complain, I guess, because Whistler wouldn't be what it is if it weren't for the whole idea of having this as an Olympic venue. So.
I think that it can be approached very well. I think there's been a lot of anticipation as far as what's coming and what's available. There's been a lot of money thrown at the answer. As far as it being good or bad, it's really hard to say until it's sort of here. So we can all sort of work together and either make it really good or really bad.
it's an incredible opportunity for Whistler to be focused on by the whole world. The Olympics, I think, offer an opportunity for all sorts of international connections with people. Everyone seems to want to watch the Olympics and be a part of it.
It's time to showcase local talent, whatever it be it athletic or artisan styles or really anything. It's definitely a good showcase position, really, I think, for Whistler. So hopefully everyone benefits from it.
I have kind of mixed feelings about the Olympics. I see it as really good and positive, I guess, for the economy and for building up the popularity of the resort and that sort of thing. But I also kind of don't want people to know about this place. I want it to remain kind of the way it is, with the small town feel. And I know it's not really possible, but that's kind of the way I'd like to keep it.
It means a lot more people. It's going to be super busy in town. It means a lot more publicity for Whistler too, and probably a lot more building in Whistler. I'm not planning on staying in Whistler for it. I don't really want to be here. I don't entirely want the games here. The fact that it's just going to be so many new people coming into the town and taking over the town, and the tourists already act a lot like they own the place, and it's just going to be a lot more people to deal with.
You could look at it as a huge corporate monster that will squash any cultural integrity that's in a community, or you look at it and you say, okay, this is a huge corporate monster that can help the cultural stability of our community. And as long as you have a whole bunch of leaders and a whole bunch of people that are working together for the same cause, I mean, that always outweighs any corporate monster or any monster at all. Like people can outweigh that very easily, and we need to get prepared and organized and play on their level. Like, we can't be a bunch of artsy fartsy kids wandering around, not even kids, adults saying, oh yeah, I make this or I make this. We have to get together and say, I'm coming from here within to create this, and this is why this is important to life, and this is why this is important for people of multiculturalism to come and see this stuff. We have to get organized and make sure that we're playing on that level. Otherwise we will get squashed.
Definitely mixed feelings, because already, like, the town, Whistler as a town isn't what it used to be. The town's lost what it was before. It's big and it's busy and there's people here all the time. And I think, like, that I don't really like, but also with the games coming out of it, it's like a positive result, Like, it would be the way it is no matter what, but at least with the 2010, then there's something, benefiting many people.
When the whole thing with bid was going on to get the Olympics in Whistler, I was kind of like, Whistler's busy enough, we don't need any more people here. I wasn't so excited about it, but my opinion's totally changed on it over the last few years. I mean, the opportunity for some of the athletes here is amazing. You look at the kids that are here right now who are, 9, 10, 11 that have the potential to compete in the Olympics when they come here. It's amazing, just the opportunity that they're going to have. And for Whistler to be on the map, I think it also puts the pressure on for us, because we talk about sustainability and how we need to keep Whistler green and all that kind of stuff. And with the spotlight on us, we're forced to live up to those expectations.
For Whistler, the biggest opportunity is in the message that they can send to the world. Because they've been working on that sustainability plan, that 2020 plan, and that these Olympics are supposed to be the most sustainable Olympics, and they're claiming it. And I think that if they can still promote that as a highlight and get the right education out there, have the community educated, educate everybody that comes here during that whole 2 weeks event, then I think it can be huge impact on the future of our planet.
On the one hand, this town is busy enough, it's big enough, there's already too many people here to really, it's not really sustainable, I don't think. It's just too much. And that's without the Olympics. You could try to go buy a bottle of Jack Daniels between Christmas and New Year's, and you're going to be standing in line for half an hour just to get into the liquor store. So there's nowhere to park. You got 20, 30,000 toilets flushing a couple times every day, and it affects us. So on the one hand, I think Whistler can't handle this huge influx of people and all that. On the other hand, we're a small community of fairly like-minded people, and the eyes of the world are going to be on Whistler, and I think that gives us a really good platform to stand on to try and show how you can work as a sustainable community and how the environment is important to everyone's careers and lives. So I think the Olympics will be a good soapbox for Whistler to get across some points that maybe other communities wouldn't get across. Who knows if that'll happen or not, but I think the opportunity is there. It's time for people to recognize that the environment isn't something that's always going to be there for us. We have to take care of it. And I think that's something that Whistler, just because of the natural beauty that there still is here, the way that people feel in this town, I think we could use this and push it even further and show the world that, yeah, it's important to take care of your natural surroundings and the natural world. And if you don't, then bad things start to happen. Like it rains on Christmas Eve instead of snowing.
A majority of the people here that I recognize, or that I've noticed, are in transition, which makes them interesting because they don't have their whole life on lockdown. They're not like, I am going to be a doctor, and that's me. A majority of them are sort of putting their life on hold. Like, this is pause time. Like, you know, they were going to school, or they just finished school, whether it's high school or university or whatever, and they're like, man, I really need a break. I've been doing all this school and it sucks. Or I've been working over here for my dad's company and it sucks. So they come here to Whistler to have a good time for a little while, or so they think. And they come here and they have a good time and they think they're gonna figure the rest of their life out. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't, but that's not a bad thing. Or they're in progress. They're in the process of figuring things out, and so they stay.
I don't know, it's crazy what's happened, how different it is. You look at pictures and it's almost like you're in a different place sometimes, but I don't know, it's a good thing. Before I wasn't totally keen on it, but now I think it's pretty cool. I mean, they're doing a good job developing Whistler, so it brings more people here, and hey, I guess, I don't know, the more people that experience this, the better.
I'm seeing that the people that are able to really fully stay here for a long time are the people that do sort of notice that, you know, you can do anything you want here. You can learn and grow. It's the best form of university and best form of anything. You have an interest, you can play in like such a high sort of end and right away, you know, and meet the people that are fully into that. And I think it's pretty neat. It's a pretty good opportunity, pretty neat community, you know.
When the weather's good and the sun's out, like, there isn't a better place in the world. Just the facilities, as far as like snowboard parks, skate parks, they've got an ice rink, and there's just freshwater lakes, hiking, canoeing. Like, you can do all sorts of things here, not only in the winter but in the summer, and it just contributes to a really, really amazing quality of life.
You can't just take it for granted anymore that it's going to be an amazing town and the greatest place to live. You have to put in a little bit of work, and some people are doing that. That's one thing about this town, is that the people that really care about it, they care so passionately about it that they're willing to sacrifice their time, their energy to stay here, to try and keep their friends here, and to just make it worthwhile and an interesting town.
It's the type of place that has its own momentum, and it's it's just a different pace and a different drumbeat, and I think people can either come here and get really, really, knocked off their seat, or they can sort of get knocked off and say, okay, and start to learn that. A lot of people come here for the skiing and the riding and that whole buzz that's going on, and that has its own huge, heavy momentum behind it, and that alone can consume people. And then there's the workplace, right, which is generally filled with people your age, and there's so much going on, and it's just really hard to say, okay, this is where I want to live, this is where I want to actually have home base and make who I am actually stand out. It's a hard place to do that, but I think like if you're able to sort of see through that, it's a pretty gorgeous place to live.
There's not really necessarily amount of years that you've been here that qualifies you as a local, but I think if you live here and plan on staying here and care about what happens here and understand the lifestyle, then you're a local.
My definition of a Whistler local would be somebody that values risk more than money, and that feeling that you get when you're not in total control. That's when your heart's going and you can focus solely on exactly what you're doing, and everything else disappears. The bank statements are gone, the in-laws you're not thinking about, right? All your problems disappear, and you're right living in that one exact moment. And I think the Whistler local is the person that really loves to live in that one exact moment and just be so focused on that one thing that the rest of the world just falls away, and it's just snow in your face, or your hand on that rock on the rock climb, or whatever it is that brings them to that place. I think the Whistler local are the people that just like to get to there.